Minecraft challenge. Yep, part 12. Remember in the last part that I said we're on day 70? Yeah, I did said that. So right now, we're still on world 70. But now we are at day 71. Oh, hello, I'm Cypher. How you're so quickly? Okay. Just as like every single part, I decide a YouTube video will be on it. Ignore that there's crazy hour in this AI SpongeBob live. Let's go to Minecraft.
From flat entities to turning every mob into a sheep, here are the most illegal Minecraft things. Why is my head like this? Normally in Minecraft, your head can only move so far, but with the pitchy mod, it disables the limits for how far up or down you can look, so you can completely turn your head. It makes doing loops with an extra elytra possible, which is quite cool from the first-person perspective. It looks kind of freaky looking from third person. Help, I'm squished! Normally when an anvil falls on your head, it just feels damage, but if you want to make things a bit funnier, try using the squished mod, which makes anvils squish your player model. It also works on other mobs too, so you can squish things like slimes and pigs. Everyone knows about the skeleton horse. 4 of them spawn whenever you get near a skeleton horse trap. However, these horses always spawn as adults, and they're impossible to breed. Now, this may seem completely fine, but it also means that you'll almost never see the baby skeleton horse variant. If you really want to see the baby horse, you can spawn it in creative mode though. I found you! Now die! I just found a new way to draw in Minecraft. It's with villagers. You see, by running this command, you can make villagers spawn right in front of you, and you can write all sorts of things. Although it's quite difficult to create something beautiful, it's quite funny seeing all the villagers just floating around in the sky. What's even better is that you can swap the villagers out for any other mob, like creepers or even happy gas. Drawing with happy gas is especially cool because you can walk on top of their solid hitboxes after you're done. Why do these mobs look so dumb? Mobs look a bit too tall. Camels got long legs and tiny hands. Magma cubes have a gap in the middle with teeth. At least this sheep is normal. Oh, come on! Even the wall looks scuffed with the sheep's heads still attached. All these cursed textures are actually a part of the stupid craft resource pack. The nether is too hot! If you're tired of the fiery hot nether, try using the flooded nether mod, which replaces
No.
with water. I love just swimming through here. It's much easier than other places. However, the flooded nether feels pretty illegal since you normally can't even place a single block of water here. Check out these dancing mobs. Every X-Dance mob makes mobs dance after killing enemies, surviving from a war or breeding. It was inspired from this funny video where hoglins danced after killing a piglin. If you're building a tiny 1-block tall house and need an entrance, most players will just use a regular trapdoor. But
My max amount of views was maybe 20 or more. 30 or more.
parts of the door individually and it'll still be functional. This lets you have an actual door for your tiny homes instead of having to settle with trapdoors. You know how ice is normally the only block that makes you slide around? Yeah, well, this mod completely changes that. It's called the Everything Ice mod, and it makes every block in the game slippery. Grass is slippery, sand is slippery, even soul sand somehow is also slippery. You'll go to fight a creeper and accidentally drift past it and explode! This ice also messes up every single parkour course and makes them easier with the momentum. Check out this baby enderman, or this baby creeper. If you want more mobs to be able to have babies in Minecraft, you should try out the More Babies mod. It has in a ton of baby variants for the other mobs. However, if you want these babies without downloading any mods, you can also just use the scale attribute command to shrink mobs and make them look like babies. This isn't a wandering trader, but a trading wanderer. This resource pack swaps the llamas and the traders so that the llama is now in charge. It feels so wrong seeing this, but oddly kind of right too. Maybe it's better this way. What is wrong with this villager's face? His face is coming out from the top of his head. When I hold an item, the villager gets excited and his head pokes moves upwards. This is a part of the Stonks Minecraft mod that slightly changes how villagers look. Check out this flying villager. If you're tired of boring and annoying phantoms attacking you, a fun surprise could be using the strange villager resource pack that retextures phantoms into flying villagers. Although they're still annoying, it's a pleasant surprise to see these guys flying towards you. I don't have emeralds, I swear! There used to be a button called Super Secret Settings in 1.8.9, and when you clicked it, a random filter would get applied over your game that completely distorted your game. I remember clicking it and couldn't figure out how to disable it, so I had to completely reinstall Minecraft. If you want to bring this feature to the newer version, try out the Super Secret Settings mod. With this mod, whenever you drink beetroot soup, a random insane filter will get applied. Luckily, to remove this effect, it's quite simple. You just have to drink some milk. Villagers are quite selfish and have these giant noses all for themselves. So this mod creator decided to share the load. Now you can find the noses on all kinds of other mobs like bees, creepers, and gas. Now they can finally smell the beautiful world around them. This is the reverse MLG. Most players will try to MLG by falling down and then clutching with a water bucket or even a ladder. But the reverse MLG changes this. Instead of falling down, you'll be going upwards. If you throw an ender pearl at the ceiling and quickly place a weeping vine, you can stick to the ceiling. This may seem completely useless at first, but it's very useful if there's a large pool of lava below you that's impossible to clutch on. I'm the reverse MLG master! This is Brickcraft. It's a resource pack that makes every Minecraft texture look like Lego pieces. The pack was in development for over 3 years and has custom brick sounds for explosions, walking, and attacking. Swimming through the oceans looks absolutely incredible. Or watching leaves burn from trees. There's even a separate minifigure pack that makes your player model look like a Lego figure. However, while this pack is incredible, the creator of the pack, Alex, has unfortunately passed away due to cancer. Everyone knows you can shear a sheep, but if I wanted to shear a cow, you're able to shear sheep for wool instead of having to kill the sheep. So this mod creator thought cows should have the same feature, but for leather. The shear a cow mod lets you shear cows just like sheep for leather. The only issue is that the leather doesn't grow back on the cow.
What?
Cursed edition. It's a texture pack that makes all the
What? Why is the gal look cursed without his skin? About.
So no two mobs look the exact same. Most people think bedrock is just a block in Minecraft, but it's a real type of rock in real life. In Minecraft, bedrock is impossible to mine with a pickaxe, but in real life, it's actually possible to break. So, to make Minecraft more accurate, try using the Breaking Bedrock mod by Awesome Guy. That actually makes mining bedrock possible. This feels so cursed, though. We all know how to craft a wooden pickaxe. We just need 2 sticks and 3 planks. Wait, that's not right? Well, that's because a fun Minecraft challenge can be playing with the random crafting mod that shuffles every single crafting recipe. I dare you to try beating Minecraft like this. Villagers are one of the ugliest mobs in Minecraft, so to make them a little cuter, try out the Axolotl Villager pack. It completely
Yay! Axolotls.
It's adorable how they're still wearing their villager outfits, but it gets even better. You can also use the Axolotl Illagers pack to transform the enemies into cute Axolotl variants as well. Watching the Illagers take out the villagers is so cute. You guys got this. Minecraft rain isn't realistic because the rain doesn't collect on the ground and build up. So if you want to make things a bit more realistic, try the Flash Flood mod that allows water to build up whenever it rains. Every time it rains, water source blocks begin to appear around you, gradually flooding the area. The flooding isn't instantaneous, but if you're not careful, you could find yourself swimming in no time. If you summon a minecart on top of an axolotl and then hop in, it may seem really slow at first, but once you let the axolotl enter the water, you'll realize it's quite fast. Now, if you summon a boat on top of an axolotl, you can actually steer the boat while it's on top of the axolotl. Unfortunately, you won't control where the axolotl is going, but it's so fucking good. This is a normal bed, and this is an inverted bed. Found in the inverted bed market.
I know you're the fake polo market.
They look more fitting based on ceilings. This is a bed boat, and yep, it works exactly how you expect. It's quite literally a boat you can ride in and sleep in at the same time. When you use it, your respawn point also gets set to the location of the bed boat, so it's useful too. It's part of the Sleep Dreams mod, and it even has minecart bed variants. You can even push other mobs into these beds. It looks so funny as they're sleeping and riding at the same time. I just found an illegal Minecraft mod, and it technically breaks the game. Normally, all living mobs in Minecraft are rendered in full 3D, which gives them depth and volume, but the Flatter Entities mod completely changes that. This mod turns every living
Ow! Yeah, I know. 00 racks. Oh.
They still move even behave like normal, but visually they look like paper cutouts
Ugh.
in a 3D world. The idea for this mod was inspired by Minecraft.
So annoying.
Shareware April Fool's updates, where mobs were intentionally made 2D as a joke. The most items you can normally stack in Minecraft is 64, but what if you want something higher, like 100 items, 1,000 items, or even 1,000,000 items in a single stack? Well, then you should get the Stacker mod that lets you stack up items to 1,000,000,000 items in a single slot. Check out my skinned minecarts. Normal minecarts are all grey and boring, but not anymore. With the skinned carts mod, it introduces all sorts of mob-themed minecarts like this pufferfish cart, panda cart, and even sea turtle carts. They're all fully functional, but they kind of look like a mob was killed and then wrapped around a minecart. Check out my working vacuum. It's fully possible in survival Minecraft. You see, below the carpet, you'll find a villager riding a pig inside of a minecart. This makes it so just the top hat of the villager sticks out of the floor. Next, when you cover the floor up with carpets, the villager will pick up food items like potatoes, bread, carrots. These aren't spyglasses, they're binoculars. If you've ever felt like the spyglass view in Minecraft was too small, check out the binoculars texture pack by Storm Dragon. It transforms a tiny spyglass circle into a wide rectangular view, just like real binoculars. If you think this is cheating, it's really not, because you can always just press F1 to hide the black overlay from the spyglass. If you really hate villagers, you should put on an ominous banner to start a raid. It's part of the Attack on Villager mod, and you can join the villagers in their raid on the villagers. Here you can ride on Ravagers, reef the village, bug villagers. However, be careful, villagers can actually fight back in this mod. I'm sorry, take emeralds back! Are you tired of Minecraft's boring physics? Well then, you need to try the Minecraft Physics mod. It brings in crazy ocean physics, making boat rides way more exciting, and even tiny ponds look stunning. Burning down villages is a lot more satisfying with all the smoke physics. Even snow is fully overhauled too. It's thick, leaves trails as you walk through it, and feels a lot more real. Breaking blocks now leave behind chunks, which makes explosions feel incredibly satisfying. Cave vines even sway out of your way as you walk through them. But the best part, mobs go ragdoll mode when you attack them. If you place the sand, you'll notice that it falls upwards instead of down. And that's not the craziest part. You can grow sugarcane and cactus upside down, and it'll grow while hanging from the ceiling. It's part of the illegal building mod, and it also has a special stone that can be placed outside of Minecraft's usual grid. There are even log blocks that show the trunk texture on all faces, not just on the top and sides. What's wrong with this minecart? If it looks like it's filled with soup, that's because it is. The Chowder Express mod introduces minecarts filled with soup. You can ride it, and it's not just visual. You can actually drink the soup you're riding in. Ew, gross. This is the cursed diamond sword, and it's just as chaotic.
It's just a Maserati Shamel car. It's just a car.
When you strike them up with it,
Like what? Are you
mount back down. The cursed
What?
pickaxe is just as overpowered, instantly mining a 3x3 area with a single swing. Then there's a cursed hoe. It can till soil like normal, but also applies bone meal to a full 3x3 patch of land at once. And finally, the cursed TNT looks like a ramp, and when it explodes, it sets nearby mobs on fire. This isn't a normal skeleton, but a hyper skeleton. The hyper skeleton mod adds a skeleton that rapid fires arrows like his life depends on it. It's almost like he has a machine gun. I know what will stop it. An iron golem! Okay, I'm screwed. After you see this, you won't ever want to kill another axolotl. This is the buff axolotl, and it looks absolutely terrifying. If you punch him, he'll yeet you into the sky, and you may notice...
This is a car, I'm Cypher. It's just a car.
Actually freeze in place and drop all their goods before running off. This is in the mugging villagers.
What?
Villagers at gunpoint and steal their items. Once you do so, the villager becomes homeless, unable to get a new job, breed, and most importantly, be mugged again. I don't remember mugging wandering traders though. Gosh darn it! Ever wanted your mobs to roll around like this? Yeah, really. But with the rolling mobs resource pack,
What?
like it's bowling instead of walking. Cows, sheep, villagers, they all roll like they've got no legs. Even the Ender Dragon spins through the sky like it forgot how to fly. Villagers and iron golems actually have pretty similar head shapes. They've both got long faces and even longer noses. So this creator had a hilarious idea. What if you swapped their bodies? With this resource pack, regular villagers now look like iron villagers, and iron golems look like buff mega villagers. Now villagers are filled with these buff, bare-chested villagers, but seriously, put a shirt on! Only sea creatures can be bucketed in Minecraft, but not anymore with the bucketable data pack. Now you can bucket anything from chickens, creepers, and even an enderman. Or if that's not enough, you can bucket the entire Ender Dragon and defeat it by just throwing it into some lava. This is is a working airship in Minecraft, and it's insane. Normally, if you attach an alley to a boat and try to ride it, the lead snaps. But if you place a pig in the boat first, and then attach the boat to an alley, you can ride the pig while the alley lifts the entire setup into the sky. Now, how do you control where this goes? You can actually throw wind charges at the alley to boost it in the direction you want to go. But here's a crazy part. You can make this airship completely self-sustaining. If you trap a breeze in the boat and then hop in, you can punch the wind charges it throws at you. If you want to travel dimensions in Minecraft, you have to go through either a nether portal or end portal. But if you want to change, try out the Dimensions painting mod. This mod allows you to move between dimensions by jumping through specialized paintings. But be careful, the paintings are one way. If you forget to take an overworld painting with you, you'll have a hard time getting back. Dang it, I'm stuck! If you try to make a diagonal fence in Minecraft, you'll have these giant...
I have a wheel that is a Mercedes Chanel, and my dad drive the Mercedes Chanel when he was younger.
Diagonally. It honestly looks quite nice. And with the diagonal walls or diagonal windows mods, you can do the same with walls and glass.
Can you do something like maybe common? Can you also use common cars like Audi A3 or Audi A5?
Yeah, nothing special.
They're common.
Mod, it looks way more satisfying. This mod makes falling blocks like sand or anvils rotate the massive direction they're moving. They even switch and stretch based on their speed, which looks incredibly smooth. It's such a small detail, but it makes a huge difference. I just found something that completely ruins Minecraft. The sheepified resource pack makes every single mob look like a sheep. Anything from creepers, iron golems, ravagers, endermen, and squids. This feels like a horror movie where a sheep infection took over the entire world. But I haven't even showed you the worst part. The literal ender dragon is a sheep too. Get away from me! There's something
It's a sheep dragon.
If you get one into a minecart, you can actually then build around it to decorate the ghast. You can create all kinds of decorations, like giving the ghast a crown, making the ghast blush, or even a monocle and a mustache.
Anime.
Detective. But if you're extra creative, you can even make the ghast
I'll be
like
back.
a statue. It's so scary! In the one block at a time April Fool's update, you're actually able to place a barrel on top of your head and walk around all sneakily. However, this feature was so cool, this creator brought the feature to the main game through a mod. It lets you place a barrel on your head and walk sneakily through your world. When you stay completely still, you look just like a normal barrel block that other players can interact with too. Please don't ever use this resource pack. This is a creeper-made resource pack, and it forces every creeper in the game to wear a maid's outfit. Although it's mostly just a quirky visual change, it actually lets you spot creepers easier since they can't camouflage with the grass as easily. This is the ugliest sheep I've ever seen. In the Minecraft movie trailer, they had this disgusting sheep that yells at you. But in the actual Minecraft game, the pink sheep actually looks somewhat normal. However, if you want to bring the movie sheep to your game, someone actually made a mod to bring the cursed model into your game. When the sheep goes, bah, its mouth actually moves to this mod, which just feels so weird. I hate you! Have you ever drank a potion but been left with an extra bottle clogging your inventory? Tried to drop it but ended up picking it up again? Well, this mod has a solution for you. After drinking your potion, you can just eat up the glass bottle. Yummy! Try opening this door and you'll see it keeps glitching and freaking out once you finally manage to get through and try opening the chest. You'll have to spam click just to pry it open. You see, this is Fundy's annoying difficulty mod, and it makes Minecraft way harder. If you try to punch a wood block, you'll get splinters stuck in your arm and have to pry them out. Try swimming or mining and you'll get helpful tips that pop up to block your screen. You can't even carry too many items or else you'll become too heavy and eventually explode. Now on top of the dozens of other features, if you eventually make it to the end, you have to play the game at the same time as playing Dance Dance Revolution with your arrow keys or else you'll take damage. This is impossible! Which mob generates the most skulk? Massive mobs like pigs and rabbits only produce 2 to 3 skulk blocks. Surprisingly, villagers and iron golems don't generate any at all. Hostile mobs like zombies, creepers, and evokers each generate 5 skulk blocks, and even the powerful warden only produces 5. However, the ravager generates 20, and the wither generates the most at 50 skulk. Can the world border stop the end portal? Let's first try with a medium-sized border, and it still works. Now, if the border is partly into the portal, it works as well. Finally, if the world border is in the portal, it looks like the end portal is stronger than the world border. The soul speed enchantment makes you travel at super speed on Soul Sand, but it used to be extremely broken. On this snapshot, if you use Soul Speed boots on Soul Sand, your boots will take damage until they have a negative durability. Can you get Minecraft's hardest advancement with just one potion? How did we get here is notorious for requiring nearly every single potion potion effect at once. But using commands, you can create a potion with every effect stacked into it. In fact, the list is so long, you can't even read them all without shrinking with GUI scale. Just one splash of this potion, and you will instantly complete Minecraft's hardest challenge. If you try to break suspicious sand, it will just turn into air. Even if you try to move it with a piston, the suspicious sand will drop no items. There is one way to get it though. If you place a bubble beam and let the sand fall onto it, the suspicious sand will eventually drop as an item. If you use a debug stick on one side of a double chest, it will create this glitched texture. Or you can debug stick the bottom side of a door to create an illegal door. Can you sleep in this bed? The bed is sticking halfway outside of the world border. But if you right click it, you can actually sleep. But will you be able to grow a tree here? Let's see. Yep. How about using a dragon egg? The egg won't teleport outside of the border, but will go vertically up. That's so cool. When Silk Touch was first added, using it on a spawner would actually work. But when you placed it back down, something strange would happen. The spawner data will reset and would just turn into a pig spawner. Although the honey block may seem normal at first, there are several things you can't place on them, like buttons, levers, torches, or pressure plates. This is because despite the fact it looks like a regular 16-pixel wide block, its hitbox is technically only 14 pixels wide and 15 pixels high, making it have the same hitbox as a chest. So if you can't place it on a chest, you can't place it on a honey block either. Funny enough, Bedrock Edition shows you the actual hitbox of the honey block when you look at it. But despite this, you actually are able to place buttons and pressure plates on them. Man, this is getting confusing. How do you get the Uncraftable potion? You probably have seen it once or twice in the achievement menu, but what about getting the actual item? One way is by just slash giving yourself a potion. But if you don't want to be a cheater, just go to the 3D shareware update and you'll find the Uncraftable potion in one of the barrels. Ladders are really weird. If you place a ladder down against any block, it becomes paper thin. For a clearer view, try placing a ladder on a barrier block. What's crazy is that it's even thinner than its dropped item form. The same goes for vines, where you can barely even see the texture from its side. Everyone knows evokers drop totems and kill. So here's a super cool MLG. Punch an evoker off a cliff and jump right after it. Just before you hit the ground, the evoker will drop the totem, saving you at the last second. Watching it in slow motion shows just how much you came to do. Attach a thing to a tool fence post.
I'm back.
Yourself a game of tetherball. It's not too fun alone, but
No, I remember Nissan Skyline GTR.
you're able to send entities like boats and sheep through the end portal. We even send prime TNT through it to explode hunters.
Wait, does it say R34?
I suspect is dripstone. If you drop a huge
Oh, there's nothing inappropriate about it.
it's a drip
Hooray!
end up killing you. Check out this strange phenomenon. Notice how one item floats higher than the others. If you think this trick has something to do with the carpet, you'd be right. Beneath the second
Oh, would you look at that? It's day 72.
they actually float higher than those of regular blocks. And by covering the top of the walls with the carpet, you can hide the walls and create this strange effect. Snowmen will burn in the nether, but will powdered snow save it? Powdered snow freezes all entities that enter it, so it makes sense for it to save the golem. However, try it out and you'll quickly learn that powdered snow won't help the golem at all. The only way the snow golem can live in the nether is if you give it fire resistance. If a zombie drowns underwater, it transforms into a drown. But what happens if the giant mob drowns? Since it looks like a bigger version of a zombie, you might expect it to turn into a giant drown. Unfortunately, that's not what happens. The giant simply dies. When you open your creative inventory, you'll notice a compass tab that lets you search for items. But I bet you didn't know that the compass here is actually functional. I always thought it was just a decoration. But it'll point you towards the world's spawn point. This is the world's largest redstone repeater, and it actually works. You might think making a functioning giant repeater is pretty easy, but you have to remember, this was built without using an actual repeater than the redstone itself, and had to be built to emulate all of the repeater's functionalities, including changing its delay when you right-click and locking it with another repeater. This means that what seems like a pretty simple redstone component is actually full of a bunch of really complicated redstone circuits. Yet despite that, the whole thing works exactly like a real repeater does. It's pretty cool that this is even possible, but I think I'll stick to just crafting my repeaters using some stone and redstone torches instead of wasting all of my iron on a ton of pistons. This is not a dead bush. Do you see it? That's right. It's placed on ground.
What?
Dead bushes can only be on top of sand. This is actually called a shrub, and since it looks so similar to the dead bush, they were actually merged together on 1.13, and now only desert bushes exist. If you summon the giant mob, you'll quickly find out that it has no AI. It won't even burn in the sun. However, if you've ever wanted a functioning giant, all you have to do is summon a regular zombie and increase its scale by 6. Now the giant will try to attack us. If you place an item frame on a lens, the textures will collide with one another. However, if you use an invisible item frame, place a gold block inside, and build a structure around it, have yourself an arcade machine. You can spin the gold block around, and it'll look like a joystick controller. Or you can also just put a banner inside, and it'll look like an arrow. The totem of undying is meant to save you from death, but does it work in the void? Jump in and... no, you'll still die. With 8 chiseled stone bricks and a netherite, you'll craft a lodestone block. Most people don't
Damn
know
it.
that if you right-click
Wait,
on the compass,
I have an idea.
the universe will start pointing at the block. Slimes can already get pretty small if you split them in half, but unfortunately, after splitting them twice, they can't get any smaller. But by using the attribute command, we have a way to create a slime that's so microscopic, you might not even notice it's there. This little guy is literally smaller than a single pixel, and if you had him on grass, you honestly might mistake him for a grass particle due to how small he is. If a zombie's head stays underwater for 30 seconds, it turns into a drown. But what if you give it a water-breathing potion? Will that stop the transformation? After waiting, the zombie still converts into a drown, so water-breathing doesn't save them. Can a Vindicator attack a villager surrounded by rails? Nope, the Vindicator isn't very smart. What if the villager is surrounded by trapdoors? The Vindicator runs straight into the void, unable to tell the trapdoors are flipped. For something even funnier, try surrounding a villager with pistons and pressure plates. The Vindicators will charge at the villager, but end up activating the pistons instead, running around in circles, trying to find a way in, and never succeeding. Well, building a 4x4 vault door really isn't that complicated. Just watch a single tutorial and you'll pretty much have it figured out. But if you wanted to scale up that 4x4 vault door to use mega blocks, well, that's a lot more challenging. But as you can see here, not impossible. With a bunch of flying machines that carry the facade of the blocks in unison, Crafty Masterman was able to create a supersized version of a regular piston door to scale, with an accurate opening sequence too. He even went out of his way to recreate the movement of pistons that you can barely see in the finished door, which is really commitment to the concept. Dinnerbone name tags make mobs flip upside down, but will they sleep upside down as well? If you name a villager and set it at night, a villager will just go to sleep normally. But once it turns day again, the villager will wake up walking on its head. Oh, that was hurt. Don't go near this creeper. It may seem completely normal, but it's not. It was summoned with a custom explosion radius, and when you go near it, it'll cause a nuclear explosion. You can use these supercharged creepers to blow up entire villages. Previously, I said that this chessboard was made using the immersive Portals mod, but I found a way to create it in vanilla Minecraft. Using block displays, you're able to create tiny blocks, and I was able to create this board. Theoretically, functional chess pieces can be made as well from the block displays, but I'll leave that up to the pro command blockers to add. This sword
One
is
moment.
illegal.
I'm back.
Sword, if you take a look at the enchantments, you'll see they're stacked super long with a bunch of duplicates. The item is impossible to get in the latest version, but on this version, Piglins had a chance to spawn with these insanely powerful swords. If you activated a nether reactor core in Minecraft Pocket Edition, the blocks around it would turn to glowing obsidian. What's pretty cool is that you could actually mine it in this state, and you could keep the glowing obsidian. I wish this still existed. I can't believe this works. Healing potions damage undead mobs like zombies and skeletons. It turns out another strange mob counts as undead. The Wither! Healing potions will actually damage the Wither, so you can kill one of the deadliest bosses by just throwing potions of healing. Did you know villager raids can start in the end dimension? Most people think raids can only happen in the overworld, but this isn't the case. To create a village, all you need is one bed and one villager. Then if you get near it with the bad omen effect, a raid will occur, and villagers will spawn for you to take down. However, this feature gets even stranger. If you create a village in the nether and then start a raid, nothing will happen again. So pillager raids only work in the overworld and the end. How many armored walls will it take to kill one warden? Let's first try with 5 armored walls. And the all will get slaughtered by the warden. Okay, what about 15 armored walls? This time it's much closer, but the warden still slays the walls. If you want to kill the warden, you'll need at least 17 armored walls. Just as long as you're okay with not all of them making it to the end of the fight. Did you know that if you give a piglet a diamond chest plate, it'll wear it? But if you toss it a gold chest plate afterward, the piglet will swap out the diamonds for the gold. However, there's a twist. If you give a diamond chest plate enchanted with curse of binding and then throw the gold chest plate, the piglet will just hold on to the extra golden chest plate in its other hand. He will win. One warden, 100 zombified piglets. The battle kicks off with the warden striking down an annoying piglet, and instantly the rest of the piglets come running towards the warden. The warden is only able to attack a single mob at a time, so eventually all the piglets will bully the warden and defeat it. Landing on dripstone will hurt a lot, and landing in water cancels all fall damage. But what will happen if you land on a waterlogged dripstone? There are two possible outcomes. In Java Edition, the water will protect you, and you'll take no damage at all. But in Bedrock, you'll still get hurt by the pointy dripstone. You can break Minecraft's character limits. If you've ever signed a book in Quill, you might have noticed that you can only fit 16 characters in the title. But there is a way around this. You can put the same book into an anvil and name the book up to 50 entire characters long. One downside of this method is that the book title will be italicized after getting put through an anvil. If you try to spawn both an iron and snow golem at the same time, only the snow golem will get spawned. Which dripstone do you think will do more damage? A giant dripstone or a tiny one? If you drop the first dripstone, the villager somehow survives. But dropping the second...
Why is there 94? It's supposed to be 95.
Dripstone damage is calculated based on how high it falls from and not how long the dripstone is. Look at this error block. It happens on Java Edition when a texture is missing. Fun fact, the black and purple textures are that way because they're so eye-catching and let developers know something is wrong. If you give a fox a red carpet, it will fight it, making it look like the fox has a red tongue sticking out. Considering how tricky foxes are to catch, it almost feels like the fox is taunting you with its tongue. You can break Minecraft with just the tape.
Hello guys, Gameboy Hub here, and today we are back on VMware Workstation. As you can see, today we're going to be installing Windows 2000 inside.
Here's how to make your chest splash-proof, and here's how to turn literal dirt into emeralds. And these are 67 surprisingly helpful things in Minecraft. And hey, as you can see from this number, we're almost at 6 million subscribers. So you see the button down there, consider subscribing. It's free, and it helps out a ton. You see, when you waterlog something, it keeps the properties of a water source block, meaning that just like this is a TNT block, and this is a weapon of mass destruction. And these are 51 new Minecraft TNT blocks, starting with this blue one. This is TNT times 5. You might want to step back. Why? Is it going to be dangerous for me? Oh, it's a bit at night. What? Oh my god. Unfortunately for us, that's going to be the smallest explosion in this video. Oh god. Alright. Why does this have a house? That's awfully specific. Hey there. Picture of a house on a bomb? Oh, that okay, wow. It's literally a house bomb. Hello?
Dude, this is gonna do wonders for the economy.
What happens if you blow up a house in a house? Wait, I wanna...
Wait, sorry. Big Mario. It's still day 72.
There are 32 structures in Minecraft, but none of them compared to the removed one. So I'm going to be recreating every single one, starting with the Hero Bernstein, which obviously doesn't work, at least I hope it's from 14 years ago.
The original Minecraft skyblock is missing. This is the skyblock that everybody knows. It has a tree, a chest, and well, an island. But this is a screenshot of the original skyblock. Other than this picture, we have nothing. We don't know what's in the chest, if there are any surrounding islands. We don't even know what block is in the middle of the island. The only hint we have is this text from challenge number 3 that says make a mushroom farm 1.0. That means there's mushrooms somewhere. But today, I am not only going to be solving the mystery of the original skyblock and finding out what was in the middle of the map and what is inside of this chest, but I will also become the first person in years to actually beat the original skyblock map. And that all starts with challenge number 3. Why is challenge number 3 important? Where did I even get the challenges from in the first place? Well, there is another map that looks like this, Skyblock 1.1. Supposedly Skyblock 1.1 is an easier version of Skyblock 1.0. It has more land. Well, that's the only thing that makes it easier. What's even more confusing is there's a Skyblock 1.1 and 1.0 that look like this. These are the updated versions of the map. Not what we're looking for. Anyways, the original Skyblock 1.1 exists. The download for it has been found. And these challenges happen to still be available on the original post for the map. No, the download links don't work anymore. But these challenges are for 1.1 and for 1.0. And the way we know this is because of challenge number 3. Make a mushroom farm 1.0. So this means that I can beat the original map just by completing these challenges. So now we just gotta figure out what's in the chest. Because obviously I'm not gonna be able to just download the map. Or there would probably be a link to download the map. Now I spent at least 3 scrolling the forums trying to find any information about what could have been in the chest. Let's start with this screenshot of the chest from Skyblock 1.1, the one that we do know about. We can pretty much guarantee that the 3 items on the left are going to be in the chest. I don't know why there are seeds in the chest, considering that this is on beta 1.7.3 and you can pull grass for seeds, so I guess the seeds is questionable, but sugarcane and cactus has to be in the chest because they are in the challenges. We can also guarantee that there's 3 pieces of wool in the chest because this forum post right here proves that the creator of the map did not know that you can craft string into wool.
Damn it!
At the time the map was made. Also, I guess there's no sheep. I don't know why, but just believe me, there are not sheep. So it's pretty safe to say that there is wool in the chest too. Now finally we have this cluster of items in the middle, which is a little bit confusing. First off, there's 1 bucket and 6 iron. And you might be wondering, where's the liquids?
Different to the current Skyblock map, you could actually find the liquids underneath you in 1.1. Now obviously this isn't possible in 1.0. Where would the liquids be hiding? Even if the middle block is a water or a lava block, that means that one of the liquids still needs to be in the chest. Now to actually figure out which liquids are in the chest, we simply have to refer to this forum post from 14 years ago. Bro, how do I get water or lava? On what version you play, if it's 1.0, it's in the chest. Or if it's 1.1, then check under the first layer of grass. Perfect. We now know that there are liquids in the chest, but how many liquids? I could simply answer this question with the knowledge I have now, or I could give you the answer from when I was researching this. And that answer is I have no idea. This is a picture of the chest from the updated Skyblock 1.0, which again, is not the one we are looking for. It has 2 ice blocks and 1 lava bucket in the chest. So that's probably what's in the original chest as well, right? But then we have a guy talking about making infinite lava. There's only 1 lava source in 1.1, so either he is spawning in lava or he is playing 1.0, and there's actually 2 lava sources. Why there's 2 lava sources?
No.
Better yet, the original
Oh.
new crew is replying to doesn't even exist
There you
anymore,
go.
which led me to the realization that a lot more information is missing than I thought. And the little information we have is kind of confusing. This is on a newer version, so it's pretty much irrelevant, but without knowing whether people are playing Skyblock
So this is 73.
makes this kind of impossible. I was missing something big, but at this moment, I didn't know it. Anyways, this is the chest we have so far. Any items highlighted are speculation. We cannot confirm or deny their existence. The ice is highlighted because it could also be water buckets. But let's just speedrun adding a few more items to the chest. In 1.0, we need to make a mushroom farm as one of the challenges. This means there are probably mushrooms in the chest. This person also claims that there are mushrooms in the chest, as well as bones/bone meal. This just got even more confusing. But if you look at the updated 1.0 screenshot, there is a bone in the chest. So we'll add it to the speculation list. And that leaves us with this. Almost nothing in here can be proven to have been in the original chest. And to make things worse, I still don't even know what's in the middle. So as they say, I came here to kick ass and bubblegum. And I'm all out of ideas.
Kick what?
I didn't know what was in the chest, and because of that, I gave up, completely forgetting that this video even existed.
I've spent the last 3 years documenting the most unique and never before seen Minecraft seeds to exist. From igloo spawning inside beautiful sinkholes to 1 in a billion chance odds. Here's 78 of the greatest Minecraft seeds of all time, starting with the most beautiful village ever found. This seed spawns in the science's cherry blossom biome, which when followed will lead you to a village encircled in this gigantic snowy mountain range. With a mineshaft beneath and even a ruined portal above, this is the perfect seed to start an SMP on with the gentleman. The villagers aren't the only ones with insane real estate though, because this seed spawns you on an iceberg in the middle of the ocean, which is already pretty cool. But on the very top of it is a pillager outpost just lurking. Like bro, you could make a whole antagonist arc about this place. Now there's a good chance my man just plotting against the villagers in this city on this seed. This seed has 4 different villages pretty much connected to each other, making a massive quad village with this huge mountain in the middle, all only a few hundred blocks from spawn. And the coolest part is that every seed on screen right now has all the villages in the same spots, but different terrain and biomes give you multiple options for your own survival world. Staying on the topic of villages, this seed has a taiga.
Yes, I know. I use TL Launcher.
In the same town, which is nuts compared to your usual 1 or 2 blacksmiths. 10 is actually the world record for the most blacksmiths ever found in a village. Just looking at the loots you can find in their chest, the boys and I are gonna have a field day robbing this place. Now I bet you're probably thinking, mountain structures? I don't care about that ship over. I want something revolutionary. Hell, there is a seed that exists found by ruined cow milk, where right as you load in, there is a swamp biome with hundreds of frogs all repeatedly spawning across the world. Alright, you're right. Personally, I think frogs are a tiny bit ugly, especially if you're comparing it to the most beautiful seed that's ever been found in Minecraft. Only a couple hundred blocks from spawn, this seed has a gigantic water lake surrounded by these beautiful mountains. And with this birch forest-like pathway...
Something. The official announcement provides an introduction to the game alongside a YouTube video. It gives an explanation of how to make a portal. It also includes some funny bullet points. We learned that this snapshot does not use blockchain and that there is an advancement for visiting 1 billion worlds called Snare. It also has no bugs. Seriously, who said anything about bugs? But beneath the comedic veneer are hints of deeper things to find, such as the point saying that Moni added deep and engaging lore using immersive environmental storytelling. There's also talk of Niggler's blankets, square spheres, and a 3-dimensional We see similar examples in the video, worlds that seem a bit more structured than the average random dimension. These must be accessible in the game, but how? One item of interest is a quote from someone named Bartosz Bach. This is a relatively unknown Mojang developer. At this point in time, their Minecraft wiki page contains just 4 sentences. But here, he's talking in an official announcement. Bartosz's words imply that he was involved with the creation of the snapshot. With a bit of digging, we can find that Bach is
Oh, hey. So Minecraft is a 3-dimensional game, and not just in being 3D, but also in having 3 in-game dimensions that you can visit. You have the massive overworld, the harsh nether, and the end. A place that originally only had the Ender Dragon boss fight, but is mostly known now for being... The end was the last dimension officially added to the game. Nearly 13 years ago, we are old. When it was added, it seemed as though everyone was completely fine with these being the 3 dimensions of Minecraft. But it seems though that more and more people have been talking about a potential 4th dimension to the game recently. And it kind of makes sense. Ever since King B Dogs joined Mojang, people just assume that...
No, I'm not going to join
No.
your server.
It's-
This is a single player world.
They did call a portal, and also Mojang themselves have been playing with the idea. You see, Mojang likes April Fool's jokes, and in 2020, 2023, and this year, 2024, Mojang has released joke snapshots that included new dimensions of the game, 2 of which were entirely centered around the dimensions added. So let's take a look at those times that Mojang added a 4th dimension to Minecraft, because the craziest part about all of this is that there are actually some pretty decent ideas that I could see being implemented into the game someday, whether into the already existing dimensions or into a new one. It's 2020 and Mojang is working on the Nether update and got really tired of all your suggestions. They decided to add everything into the game. Oh, this was a mistake. 20W14 Infinite is a snapshot all about making a nether portal, taking a book and quill, writing something in it, and then dropping it into the portal. The color will change, and hopping in will give you a randomly generated dimension. Well, not all the time. Almost the dimensions you'll get are certainly something. Some are pre-made. Ants, patterns, content. This one's just Skyblock. Inside the chest, though, is a box of infinite books, and it looks a little familiar. These books themselves aren't much. I should tweet that. And on top of the random and pre-made ones, there's another group of dimensions. Ones that just straight up crash the game. Whether it's random or pre-made, you never know what lies on the other end of the portals you make. I mean, unless you looked at the wiki. Maybe it's a dimension full of...
There's no seeds in Minecraft Alpha.
Over and over again. You never know. Pretty solid. There's also netherite stairs. Added the French Minecraft. Welcome to 23W13A or B, also known as the boat update. While the snapshot does include another dimension, it's not the focus this time. There's a lot here, but if you go above y=700, then you're now in space. After falling for a hot minute, you've landed on the moon. And, of course, it's made of cheese, not endstone. Cheese that you can eat to remove an eighth of the block. Anywhere. Oh, come on. As expected, the gravity is lower and it's possible to run out of air. Don't worry, eating cheese gives you air bubbles back. Was this intentional? You may have also noticed these blue cows. Well, these are moon cows. They drop glass bottles, cheese, bones, and their helmet sometimes, which is just a glass block. They're exactly the same as regular cows. You know, apart from the looks, drops, where they spawn, their name, the fact that they moonwalk. Yeah, they're the same. Quick fun fact about the cheese block. The reason it's based on endstone isn't because it looks like moon rock or cheese, but rather because this place is just as empty as the end. That is until you find ACME self-building your bases. These aren't just silly little rover-looking builds. As jumping on the pressure plate has this copper thing fly in and begin making a giant structure out of copper. You'll then see these copper splees generate. These are just simple blocks that you can't obtain in survival and will break upon you coming in contact with them. Jumping around the lunar base, you'll also find moon mission resupply crates with various items, but also lunar laboratory equipment with very random items like budding amethyst, blaze rods, mycelium, spawn eggs, and coral. And really, that's about it for the moon. Why is that the grass color? Okay, so you know when you're farming potatoes and sometimes you get a poisonous potato and you can't do anything with it other than eat it and get poisoned? Yeah, welcome to Minecraft 24W14 Potato, also known as the Poisonous Potato Update. An update that adds a whole new potato dimension with new mobs, items, armor, blocks, status effects, structures, biomes, and above all else, potatoes. One of the craziest parts about this dimension is how you get to it. Whenever you create a new world, the game automatically turns.
On just about every version of Minecraft, there is a void, and if you are to fall in that void for a few seconds, you will end up taking damage infinitely and inevitably die. On Legacy Console editions of Minecraft, there is a setting to set yourself invisible. Enabling the setting will alert you that you are invisible and invulnerable. With this setting enabled, if you are to fall in the void, you will not end up taking damage at all forever. You will continue to fall in the void until you, well, does anything happen? If you are to leave yourself falling in the void for, let's say, a few hours, maybe a day or a week, would anything happen? Would anything change visually or audibly? Would the game just break entirely at some point? You've probably seen SPD's video on how deep the void is on Minecraft Java Edition. If you haven't watched it, I recommend you do. However, the void on Legacy Console Editions are probably not as interesting and complicated as the void on Java Edition, but there's a lot I have to say about the void here on Legacy Console Editions. Something so simplistic that will most likely make this video more odd and complex than SPD's video. Before going in depth with the void, no pun intended, I should probably clarify that Minecraft Java Edition mainly runs as a 64-bit game, as Legacy Console Editions runs as a 32-bit game. If you're not familiar with the terms 32-bit and 64-bit, they refer to processor architectures that determine how number values and data are stored and processed. This will be important soon. With that out of the way, I will be focusing on the Xbox 360 edition of Minecraft instead of every other Legacy Console edition, mainly because I don't have any other consoles to test this on. The general concept of the void in Minecraft is nullified, especially on Legacy Console editions of Minecraft, where accessing the void is a lot more ambitious than simply being able to type not even a sentence-long command on other editions of Minecraft like Java or Bedrock. And once you reach that point where you begin falling in the void endlessly, what now? There's nothing to be offered in this void. There's nothing around you, whether you look up or down, and there's nothing to see but this grainy purple void that, no matter where you look, will forever be all you see. A seamlessly infinite void, yet it's entirely empty. The taboo feeling of turning on a really old console, launching a game for the sole purpose of falling in its void. Something at most hundreds of players have most likely thought about for just a moment out of hundreds of millions of other players that never bothered with something this pointless. And I was one of those players that have thought about this pointless void. Growing up, I was always amused by meaningless things that were a complete waste of time, and still am to this day. Nearly 8 years ago, in March of 2017, a certain set of events came together that ultimately led me to have the idea of falling in the void and creating this very video you are watching right now. I won't go over most of my progression of me falling in the void over the years back then because there just isn't anything valuable enough worth mentioning. I should move on now to the more important part of the video. The terminal.
I have no idea why you take damage in water.
Blocks a second, meaning you would fall 4,704 blocks deeper into the void every minute, 282,240 blocks every hour, and over 6.7 million blocks every day. If you wanted to fall 1 billion blocks deep into the void, assuming it even ends at that point, it would take you nearly 5 months to reach that point. As extreme as that sounds, it's highly possible to reach such a point, and that's exactly what I did. My former goal wasn't actually trying to fall 1 billion blocks in the void. It was 2,147,483,648. Near the beginning of the video,
Yeah,
I stated
I'm
that
good.
Legacy
You?
Console editions of Minecraft mainly run as a 32-bit game, and that the term 32-bit stores and processes number values and data. When it comes to number values in 32-bit games, the biggest number you can store is 2,147,483,647, and the smallest number you can technically store is negative 2,147,483,648. This overall range is about 4.3 billion numbers, or 2 to the power of 32. 64-bit games follow the same criteria, however, the biggest and smallest number you can store is over 9 quintillion. But 64-bit overall isn't important right now. The main goal was to reach over 2.1 billion blocks deep into the void, which would take over 10.5 months. Obviously, I never paid too much attention to the void when I had it running in the background over the years because there was nothing to exactly do. Within the course of mainly 2 years, August 2018 to August 2020, I had fallen 1 billion blocks deep into the void, and to my surprise, nothing changed. Sure, the coordinates on the map was something peculiar that no one had seen before, but you'd think after falling in the void for nearly 5 months, something in the slightest would change visually or audibly, yet it didn't. About 2 weeks had passed after I fell a billion blocks deep in the void, and I noticed my Xbox had crashed entirely. I assumed it was on for so long that it just temporarily gave out at one point. I reloaded the world, falling in the void again, but an hour or two later, my Xbox fully crashed again. Something was wrong at that point. I noticed how deep I was in the void and noticed I was just about halfway there to reaching the goal I had wanted for years, 2.1 billion. Part of me realized sooner or later, over 100 blocks after reaching the 2.1 billion. Part of me realized sooner or later, over 100 blocks after reaching the halfway point to 2.1 billion, everything crashes. You can try moving around or even going to the Xbox dashboard, but nothing would happen. I attempted to find some sort of way to pass this crashing point, but no avail. I eventually gave up and would rarely attempt to pass it again almost every year, but I never could. Specifically, this point in the void would crash your console no matter what, and there wasn't even a proper reason why it would crash here. So that was it, right? Is the end of the void technically 1,073,741,951 blocks deep? Later in April of 2024, I installed Xenia, which is an emulator for the Xbox 360. I decided to set up Minecraft and fall in the void again. However, with Xenia, you are able to speed any game up around at most 20 times faster. Applying this timescale to the void, you could reach the crashing point within over a week instead of over 5 months. Around early May, I had reached the crashing point, and to nobody's surprise, the game crashed on Xenia too. This time with a crash dump containing some contents of memory the moment the game crashed. Now, I myself am not good with crash dumps or any of this, but by the looks of it and what I've gathered, you can notice the position I crashed at looking at a few floating points. You can also notice the just about infinite Ant-Man floating points as well. So, what is this all representing and how does this happen? And I don't really have an exact answer to this. It's possible that depending on what your player's speed is traveling at this crash point, you could possibly avoid the crash entirely. I may be wrong on this, of course, because again, I have no idea what I'm looking at here, but this is what I seem to be getting from it. There is, however, another possible answer where if you check your exact coordinates, you'll notice a very accurate position of where the player is along with many decimal points. The bigger this number itself gets, the less accurate the position the player is at decimal-wise. It's possible that the game attempts to set you to a position resulting in you getting snapped somewhere the game didn't intend because of the limited decimal points, and everything ends up crashing because the game thinks the player is at an intended position, but the player ends up in a different position, if that makes any sense. So, how is this information exactly useful to pass the crashing point? Elytra. Falling in the void is simple. You fall at a constant rate asymptotically and can slowly move around. As for gliding with an elytra, you have full control over your movement in every way possible. You can fall and swiftly move around, or slowly fall while swiftly moving around. If you do this while attempting to pass the crash point, it works. After over 3.5 years of thinking the void actually had some kind of end you couldn't pass, I was wrong. I was able to pass the crash point on both Xenia and my Xbox, and I continued on with falling in the void on my Xbox. As for Xenia, we'll get back to that later. I continued to fall into the void on my Xbox until 19 days later when my Xbox crashed again. And not because it was on for so long, which I'm surprised my Xbox still works to this day, but because there was another crash point. It was the same crash point as before, just at a completely different coordinate, 1.2 billion. Like the first crash point, I was able to pass it again. About 13 days later, my Xbox crashed again. There were actually quite a few crash points after passing the halfway point to 2.1 billion. Specifically, 8 crash points. These being the coordinates for each crash point. The first crash point coordinates make sense. It's right around the halfway point to 2.1 billion. As for the other coordinates, they all seem quite random. And they are, aside from the fact they are all being around a certain percentage of the way to 2.1 billion, such as 1.2 billion being 56% of 2.1 billion, and 1.7 billion being 80% of 2.1 billion. It's still pretty much unknown exactly why these coordinates in specific crash the game, but eventually on October 12th, 2024, this would be the day I reached the 32-bit integer limit. Will the game crash again around this point? If so, will I even be able to pass it? I recorded for over half an hour before reaching the goal I had originally wanted to reach 6 years ago, and here it is. There it is. Oh my god. Upon reaching the 32-bit integer limit, the coordinates on the map finally come to rest. You can go lower than 2.1 billion, however, the game can't register the data on the map's coordinates because it is too big. So after falling in the void for almost 5 months, the only thing that actually changes or new happens is the white limit capping at over 2.1.
Minecraft.
So what's after this? Let's go back to Xenia. When I continued falling in the void on my Xbox after passing the first crash point, I also continued falling in the void on Xenia. And because you can heavily speed any game up on Xenia, I was bound to reach the 32-bit integer limit on Xenia way before my Xbox, and that was the case. I had already known what was going to happen when I reached the 32-bit integer limit on my Xbox because I reached that same point on Xenia 5 months prior, and I also know everything else about the void. Using this tool named MCC Tool Chest allows you to modify anything on any Minecraft world on Xbox 360, including the player's position. To test this, I set my player position to something random like 120 million blocks deep into the void, and upon loading the world, it actually worked. I set my position right before the 32-bit integer limit, it worked. I could set my player position to any number without having to wait to reach that point. Remember how I mentioned the biggest number you can store in 64-bit games is over 9 quintillion? Falling over 9.2 quintillion blocks deep into the void without speeding the game up at all would take over 3.7 billion years. Even if you use Xenia to speed up the game, it would take over 100 million years. Let's say you do reach the 64-bit integer limit after millions of billions of years. What changes in the void? Nothing. The audio isn't any different. The visuals in Void Skybox isn't any different than what it always has been before. The point of passing the 32-bit integer limit and the 64-bit integer limit is the exact same thing. There is no difference between reaching either of those points. So I thought, why not rip the band-aid off and set my player's position to the lowest possible number value it'll let me enter. That being 1e plus 308, which is this number right here. This number is so astronomically large that the definition astronomically doesn't even come close to describing this number value. If you had to reach the 64-bit integer limit in the void as many times as every atom in the observable universe, you would be nowhere close to even being a millionth of the way to reaching this number value, even if the game was sped up. And does anything even change in the void at this point? No, trust me, I was a bit disappointed too, but then again, nobody was meant to see or reach this point, and I think reaching the 32-bit integer limit in the void legitimately is crazy enough. This was all done on the current version of Minecraft Xbox 360 Edition, which hasn't been updated in nearly 6 years, so it's not like anything in the void will ever change or update. However, I did go back to a much older version of Minecraft Xbox 360 Edition when the end dimension was first added to see if anything was different, and it very much was different. The font on the map's coordinates were different, and you could also horizontally expand further out in the void than in the current version. Because of this, the coordinates overall will get to a point where they display off the map and eventually disappear. Surprisingly, there were no crash points in the void on this version. Nothing happens upon passing them, and you continue to fall. However, when you reach the 32-bit integer limit, instead of the coordinates resting at 2.1 billion and being able to fall deeper, the game literally just crashes. That's it. There's no way to pass it. And if you try setting your player's position lower than 2.1 billion using MCC Tool Chest, the world will forever attempt to load. Some people may come to the conclusion and say that this is the end or bottom of the void, and some people may say the opposite. There are a couple notes I forgot to mention on the current version of Minecraft Xbox 360 Edition. If you were to set the player's position to Nan or
It's day 74.
loading the world, nothing would change aside from the Ender Dragon's health bar appearing, which is very strange considering the Ender Dragon's health bar doesn't display if you are hundreds of blocks away from the Ender Dragon or more. Setting the player's position in the void will actually work in the overworld and nether dimension as well. As much as it is way more difficult or even impossible to access the void in the overworld or nether compared to the end dimension on the Xbox 360 edition, the overworld and nether dimension's void acts the exact same as the end dimension's void. Same crash points, same integer limit coordinates, and so on. And that's about all I have to say about the void here, at least for the Xbox 360 edition of this game.
Minecraft Xbox 360 Edition. Released to the Xbox Live Arcade in 2012 and eventually fully discontinued in 2019. The game's updates span from Minecraft Beta 1.6.6 all the way to Update Quad, meaning there's a lot of updates. I installed almost every game version from the Internet Archive with their trademarked 200k download speed. Went through the changelog of every version, browsed the Minecraft forum, and endured various old clickbait YouTube videos to hopefully compile a good amount of glitches. Hopefully you enjoy, and we'll begin with time update. Furnace. Place an item in a furnace, begin breaking the furnace with a pickaxe, and just before it's about to break, switch to your fist. The furnace should reappear when broken. Open it and mash A on the item. Eventually the furnace will break and drop a glitch stack of said item. This stack is just never ending. See me just endlessly filling this chest with cobblestone. Emptying all but one of these glitched items and dropping it will yield a 193 stack of blocks. This can also be done with tools and armor to obtain stacked tools and armor. Water and lava do not make sounds. The lava can randomly disappear when placed. Attempting to place water in your spawn does not work. You can stand on top of sugarcane, logging out on top of an item breaks your save line. You can occasionally take damage by dropping items while in a battle. It makes absolutely no sense. It sounds like something straight out of Bedrock Edition. Title Update 3. The game crashes when pushing a piston at the end of the world. Title Update 5. This update added loads of stuff, notably creative mode, so I don't have to test in survival anymore. Paintings can be pushed by pistons. This is probably useful for something cool, but sadly it was patched the update after this. Tools take damage in creative mode, except hose for some reason. TU7. Experience orbs make the item pickup sound. TU8. Cave spiders are the same size as regular spiders. Zero ticking a block into a lever. In order for the duped block to drop, you need to break it, then the real one, then break it again. TU11. Putting an enchanted item in a minecart chest and breaking it will remove the enchantments from the item. In a world 6 years before the grindstone was given functionality, this is very useful when enchanting. You can also bulk disenchant items, which is kind of fun. TU12. Silk touching a powered redstone lamp will drop a powered redstone lamp item. This doesn't really have any uses, it's just a cool, unobtainable block. Using the seed Journey will crash again. It's just a completely normal seed. It's probably some number-related seed error, I don't know. Lenses look weird when attached to multiple blocks. The piston texture is also broken in this update. Silk touching any double-stacked stone slab burner will only give you one slab. You will fall instantly in the void if you are invisible. I fell for an extremely long time, but nothing really happened. Block transmutation. This will allow you to obtain 6-sided logs, as well as some other glitch blocks. Look at your map and ensure your character icon is facing down. Place 7 blocks in a line and build a 2-high wall surrounding it. Then place 1 line of temporary blocks like this. Take 2 spaces here and fill 1 with a sticky piston. 2 more sticky pistons here, then a block with a torch on the side, and dust like this. And blocks on it. Place water and then remove this temporary block. And you're done with the machine. Place a log on this piston, and then a torch on top, and boom, 6-sided jungle whip. This works because the number value system that items used to have in old versions of Minecraft. To get different items, you need a different size block. For example, value 7 gave us jungle. Changing the water stream to 6 long will give us birch leaf. This goes all the way down to 1 long stream. Each size water stream giving us a different block. You can obtain a 6-sided jungle, birch, spruce, and oak wood, and also a permanently rotated jungle, birch, and spruce log. Rotated logs are in this version and weren't added for a while, but you'll notice the top of the rotated log is rotated while the other faces of the log aren't. This also works for changing the color of wool and with slabs. A value of 7 will give a stone slab with no gap in between. Sadly, in TU14, these blocks turn into quartz slabs. This will allow you to farm quartz before it was even added to the game, so that's really cool. And a value of 1 will give you this really cool, completely smooth sandstone slab. Sadly, there's no way to obtain the item for this, so if you want to build with it, your only option is to push it with pistons, which is unfortunate. TU13. The top of chests are visible through walls at a distance. Exiting the inn after placing a map in an item frame crashes the game. You'll notice there's a lot of weird crashes like this in Legacy Editions. You'll see another one later that's just stupid. You can obtain more glitch blocks with transmutation, oak wood. This appears as normal oak wood, but it does not stack with regular oak planks, and in other versions has the name wood planks anytime. Sandstone. These appear as normal blocks, and mining them in TU13, they will drop normal blocks. But mining them in any version later than TU13, they will drop. And they do not stack with regular sandstone, which makes them a different block. TU14. Iron golems will continue to attack skeletons even when they're dead. I think they should have left this in, to be honest. And will do. This allows you to do mineral blocks. Make 2 separate stacks in your inventory. It can be any size. Quick move both stacks into the anvil, and a quick move it out of the anvil. Then you should have 2 stacks. Quickly crack these down to make them real, and you can just repeat this infinitely. TU15. Falling into the void with night vision active makes everything go black. The screen, your character in inventory, and any text on the UI. Just very odd. I don't know. TU17. Glass rendering is broken. TU19. The game crashes when breaking an item frame that contains a map. The game crashes when attempting to dispense lava into a solid block. The game crashes when placing a boat on a cactus. Stone brick stairs can be crafted with cobblestone. Mobs will not stop wandering when hit. Grabbing an item out of a minecart chest right as it enters the nether will give you ghost items. Grab these down to make them real, and the other stack is on the other side of the pool. I did manage to do the golden apple with this, and it gave me a real item, but I haven't managed to recreate it. TU31. Explosions at the world border repeat in a pattern. The blocks beyond the world border aren't real, and this kind of shows you how they work, which is pretty interesting. TU43. Still touching the frosted ice item. Frosted ice. This can be used for instant unobtainable items. Items that exist in the game but aren't obtainable via normal survival or creative mode, only via glitches. The name unobtainable items doesn't make much sense at all, considering they are actually obtainable, but whatever. There's a bunch of videos going over Bedrock and Java unobtainables, but not very many for Legacy Console Edition. So that's what I'll be doing. Quintuple chest. The Console Edition section of the Discontinued Features Wiki states, if the bonus chest was broken in a world with a set for some version range, the bonus chest would try and regenerate. This phrase, for some version range, is used a few times in this wiki. I first looked at the changelog and found that bonus chests were added in Title Update 5, so that's where I began. And it's true for this version, the chest will regenerate, but it seems to be randomly placed near the spawn, similar to how the player is. So I placed chests in a checker pattern, and after several tries, I eventually got the infamous quintuple chest. This occurs when the bonus chest regenerates in between 4 other chests. So big it doesn't even fit on screen, holding 15 rows of items. As a comparison, a regular double chest holds 6 rows of items. A quintuple chest holds a total of 8,640 items. This dwarfs the normal double chest at 3,456 items. Filling it with overstacked gold blocks would equal to 309,825 golden ingots, or 2,788,425 gold nuggets. The bonus chest stops being regenerated when broken in 231, meaning this glitch does work in Title Update 9, which is the base version of the game for the physical release. So this will be done on real hardware very easily. Understacked and overstacked items. In Title Update 0, you can obtain these items are referred to. I initially believed these items to be ghost items of some sorts, but the Discontinued Features Wiki mentions that these are actually understacked items, which makes sense. These items persist through saving, can be moved around in inventory, can be stored in chests, and dropped as well. Ghost items just don't do any of that. Understacked items are interesting in that when they are dropped, they are seemingly infinitely large. Title Update 7 introduced the enchanting table, and these items can be enchanted and equipped as well. But most interesting is in TU12, where all understacked items appear stretched in your inventory as if they were just picked up. Back in TU1, understacked items can be easily turned into overstacked items. This results in a 255 stack of whatever item you use, including armor and tools. In TU14, these overstacked items are interestingly changed to display as 64 plus items instead. Why change this so long after these were obtainable? I don't know, but it's interesting, I guess. Overstacked items can be enchanted via the anvil, but not the enchantment table. Moving them into the enchantment table doesn't work, and quick move deletes your entire stack. TU12 introduces the biggest glitch in the game when it comes to unobtainables, block transmutation. There are a lot of items obtainable via this glitch. 6-sided and rotated logs. Unfortunately, TU14 makes all of these glitch logs unplaceable by the player. Logs that were already placed in previous versions remain the same though. These items were also never removed from the game and are present in the final version. Block transmutation also works in the first version of PS3 edition. The blog items appear identical to the Xbox 360, but seem to take on random textures of just garbage when placed. The first 2 of these is some sort of grass texture. They kind of resemble seagrass, but that doesn't exist yet. These are basically X-ray blocks. They allow you to see through the ground. And while recording for this, I accidentally found a texture, which is cool, I guess. These items are about as close as you can get to obtaining a clear block. Block 3 is a very metallic looking block. I can only assume this to be a very contorted and stretched leaf block texture. Block 4 is jungle leaves, missing its color. It looks very unique and honestly quite cool, but not sure what I would actually use this for. Block 5 is a rotated log with the oak leaf texture as mark. This actually makes for a really cool stone path thing. Block 6 is the same thing, but with spruce leaves instead. Not sure what this looks like or what I would use this for. It looks really cool as well. Combining all these weird textures with the fact that they act as wood blocks is just odd. And no, this isn't a bug with our PCS3 or something. It also happens on console as well. Back to Xbox 360 Edition. Glitched stone slabs. They have no gap in between, unlike regular stone slabs. These seem normal today, but weren't added to Minecraft for quite some time, actually. Unfortunately, they have a very short lifespan of 2 updates. In TU14, Nether Quartz was added to the game, and Nether Quartz slabs take on the same item value as these glitch slabs. So they basically just turn into quartz slabs upon updating. Glitched sandstone slab. This is really cool, but unfortunately, Minus does not drop the item, and that seems to be the case for every update in the game. And in TU31, this block was removed and turned into regular sandstone slabs. Or it lost its texture. There's really no way of knowing because mining it just gives you regular sandstone slabs. But I'd argue it was probably removed. Invalid data value planks. There's 7 different invalid values of planks we can get. Interestingly, the item form of these blocks doesn't exist in TU12, despite that being the update where you obtain them. You have to update to TU13 and then mine them to obtain the item. The item form of this block is where it's most interesting. Later in TU19, these items are displayed as wood planks, any type, rather than oak planks. TU12 also introduced another unobtainable item, the lit redstone lamp. This can be obtained by simply silk touching a lit redstone lamp, and to the updates, not much happens here until TU46, where this item is outright removed from the game, which is unusual. Usually items like this are at least replaced with one of its normal counterparts. Portal glitch. Updating to TU31 will cause all portal blocks to face in the same direction. These function as regular nether portals, they act exactly the same, and they remain the same until the final update of the game. Overstacked ender pearls. In TU5, ender pearls weren't fully implemented yet, and stacked in 64 rather than 16. So with this, you can simply obtain overstacked ender pearls by grabbing them out of the creative menu. Petrified slabs. Most people should be familiar with these. In Legacy, they can be crafted in TU0. They were removed from the crafting table in TU9 and replaced with the normal wooden slabs, but interestingly remain in the creative menu all the way until TU17, where they are fully removed from the game. Another interesting thing about PS3 Edition is petrified slabs are actually obtainable. They can be obtained with transmutation in this version. This is interesting.
Hey, Victor Veer.
In survival mode by this point. Similar to the Xbox 360 edition, they are only obtainable via the creative menu in this version. Torch. I was doing testing in TU31 and I realized that torches gotten from the creative menu in this version are different from torches that were crafted by the player. I thought this might have been something about coal torches and charcoal torches being different, but it wasn't. I also theorized this to just be an old version of the torch, but it seems that this different torch that we get in the creative menu first appears in TU31 and updates before this don't have it. Not sure if this is an actual different item or just a bug. This doesn't seem to be the case for other items, so I'm not sure. Frosted ice. You can obtain the frosted ice item by silk touching it in TU43. Frosted ice is the form of ice that spawns when you use frostwalker boots. It spawns on your feet and eventually breaks. When updated, frosted ice will turn into water. With this, you can cause a chain reaction and make instant water lines. This item exists all the way to the final update of the game and was never removed. In TU53, pick block was added in. By pick blocking a skull as soon as it's placed, it will reward you with a bug skull. Doing this with each skull in the game, including dragon heads, will all reward you with a functionally identical item, but they do not stack with each other. You can place these glitch skulls as well and perform the glitch on them. They will each reward you with a unique skull item that does not stack with any others. This seems like it could be repeated infinitely.
Welcome back, I'm Cypher.
Hoping for something to break eventually, but nothing happened. Just left with 3 very laggy double chests. Opening or interacting with these chests in later versions seems to crash the game.
I theorize this to be some sort of book banning type thing and not related to the items themselves. Book banning is when you overload a chunk with information, usually via books. In Legacy's case, causing the game to crash and not much else. To test this, I made a save with only 2 of these items in a chest, rather than 162, and upgraded to find that it indeed did not crash. And with that, I hope you enjoyed. I tried not to repeat myself in the last video too much.
Minecraft Legacy Console Edition. A group of long-abandoned Minecraft versions spanning several different consoles. Today, we're going to be talking specifically about Xbox One Edition. However, all
I think I don't have you, Victor Veer.
a weird thing about Legacy Console Edition is that chests are able to be pushed by pistons. Although every single other tile entity is not. But movable chests leads to quite a broken glitch. If you push a naturally generated chest with a piston, it spits out all the items in it. And doing this repeatedly will create a waterfall of items. How this was never patched, I don't know. This glitch even still works in PS4 Edition, which was the last Legacy console release to be discontinued in 2019. Now for something broken. Place a piston, slab, and a piece of obsidian in this formation on the exit inlet. Repeat this for all 4 sides. Now place 4 crystals on top of the obsidian blocks, and then use water to remove core blocks in this pattern. Then place 2 more crystals in these locations. If done correctly, this will start summoning the Ender Dragon. Now quickly activate all the pistons, then back up into a snowball to blow up the crystals. You've now obtained the bedrock item in your line. Keep in mind that this is just kind of inherently inconsistent and will probably take a couple of tries. The next one is just kind of dumb. By colliding with an entity's hitbox and repeatedly clicking save game and cancel, it will send them sliding. Only 20 falling block entities are able to be loaded at once. After 20 are placed, gravity no longer works. This is actually an intended mechanic designed to reduce lag. However, Dragon Eggs do not apply to this 20 entity limits, and you can place as many as you want. This mechanic can also be used as a player detector, which is kind of cool. Sadly, this means that your sand house will not stay intact. By crouching while entering another portal, the game will treat you as if you're permanently crouching. However, you're still able to sprint and fly as normal in this state. This is especially useful in Legacy Console Edition because you normally aren't able to crouch and fly, which is definitely an odd choice by the developers. Placing a banner on top of double tall grass to turn the banner black and give this message stating the maximum number of banners in a world has been reached, which isn't true. This next one has many uses and is probably my favorite glitch in the game. By pick blocking and scrolling your hotbar at the same time, you will create a phantom item. These items on their own aren't all that interesting. They will just disappear when placed, having collision for a short amount of time, and oddly will not disappear when placed on the head of an extended piston. So why is this so useful? By replacing a phantom ender pearl with a snowball, it will allow you to spam ender pearls at the same rate as snowballs, completely ignoring the ender pearl cooldown period. Replacing a phantom bow with a fishing rod will allow you to spam your bow at a very fast rate. The arrows being fully charged and doing full damage. This can also be used to duplicate, because the game will allow you to craft phantom items even though they are real. You can simply create a phantom copy and craft.
Oh, would you look at that? It's day 75.
Items will get you various different effects. The most notable ones being swords and pickaxes. Regular swords obviously will break blocks in creative mode, but a phantom sword will. However, the particle effect you get when breaking blocks is gone, and it breaks slightly delayed. Phantom pickaxes fine at fully enchanted speeds, but will not actually.
I will end the stream at 6:20. Yeah, 6:20 p.m.
Damage shovels to craft those. I once again have no clue how this was never found and patched, but whatever. The underside of the nether is transparent. This is not the case for any other dimension. Here's another broken. Set it on a chest, find it, and pause as soon as it breaks. Then quit the game and load back in. You'll notice that all of the items are in your inventory and in the chest. Autosave must be enabled when doing this. This is definitely the most broken new glitch in the game. You can negate fall damage by pausing right before you hit the ground, although it's pretty precise. Sprinting, dropping, and eating a piece of food at the same time will cause you to instantly eat. Now for the bad glitches. There's a small chance for the game to crash when hitting an enemy. The game crashed, man. Why this happens, I have no clue. It seems to happen completely randomly, but may have an increased chance of occurring during long play sessions. I have also encountered completely random crashes when doing nothing. I call this a VC crash, but these are very, very rare, as it has only happened to me once in my entire time playing the game.
and could have still been activated by some random mob taking fall damage or something. Next is generation corruption, a form of world corruption that corrupts naturally generated structures. We'll use my survival seed as an example. In this world, we can see a completely normal village. However, on another world with the same seed, the village is corrupted. This most often happens when loading many chunks from multiple different worlds in one play session. This goes so far that I didn't even know this village was here at all on my survival seed, because it simply didn't generate on my actual survival. Going to these coordinates, there's just nothing there. The easiest way to prevent this is to load new chunks on a fresh boot of the game, but sometimes it's really not able to be prevented. Witch huts don't seem to have witch spawn exclusivity. I've AFK'd several different witch huts in different seeds, and none of them seem to spawn witches. So no witch farms and exploits, whatever. I'm still looking into this one. Maybe I'm missing something, I don't know. For those unaware, Legacy Console Edition is a port of Java Edition, so many glitches are cross-compatible. Notably, TNT dupers, Rail and Carpet dupers, all of Java's redstone glitches.
Minecraft Legacy Edition is arguably one of the best versions of Minecraft, but not just because it was a remake of the game, but because it brought us players together as a community, even sometimes. And now that it's been 4 years since Legacy's discontinuation, we're going to be looking at 100 facts and glitches about this Minecraft version. Now keep in mind that there's 7 versions of Legacy Edition, and all 7 are basically the same with some exceptions. For example, Xbox One and Nintendo Switch editions were discontinued during their 1.12 phase, and the PS4 edition got discontinued in 1.14, while every other version of the game got discontinued on 1.13, that being the Wii U, PlayStation Vita, PS3, and Xbox 360. And since this is going to be a first video, if you want to, you can turn on your console of choice to try some of these glitches out for yourself. And if anything else otherwise, you may enjoy this video. And before we start, I've split this video into chapters, so if you did miss a glitch, you can go back to it with ease. This one is unfortunately not a glitch, but rather it's about the zombie horse. You see, while in Java Edition these things can be written, in Bedrock and in Legacy Edition, they're basically useless. But unfortunately, the uselessness also happens in tools with hay bales, because no matter what tools we use, it will not break fast. Putting lava in the cauldron and setting it will make the city take less damage than you usually would while trying to actually summon lava. With the following message, you've been burned to death. Hitting villagers while Iron Golems are around won't make them mad at you. However, this only works on PS4. And just how like you can MLG with a water bucket, you can also MLG if you put water in a cauldron. Though it's very hard, you can get it from time to time. Now here's a cool one. On the latest editions of every single Legacy Console edition, now you can stand on top of cactus without ever having to worry. If you've ever had trouble finding treasure in Legacy Edition, well, here's how. First, it is recommended that you go to the bottom left side of the X. Afterwards, you count your 16s and make sure everything is right. But here's a better way to make sure you're in the right position. First, ensure that you're touching the X on the bottom left corner, just like this. And the next thing we're going to look at is your coordinates. From there, you may pull out a calculator of your choice and divide your coordinates by 16. And if both numbers you see are whole numbers, then you're good to go. However, if it's not exactly a whole number and it's instead a decimal, you might need to move around and try again. And after all that, the one thing you have to do now is remove about 7 spaces and move 8 spaces to the right. And from there, you've basically found the treasure chest. But it only works on 1.13 upwards. Have you ever wanted to get X-Ray in Legacy Edition without actually cheating? Well, if you're tunneling, all you need to do is place a water bucket here and swim up. And as the world illuminates, you can see that the stronghold is actually just right there, which also means it's easy to find a portal world. But once again, only works on 1.13 upwards. Throwing an ender pearl, pausing the game, and doing the same thing after 1 second will make it so that way you throw ender pearls insanely fast. And for why this even happens in the first place, well, let's just say the game is able to pause, but the cooldowns aren't really to do the same. First, dig one block down and place your water in it. Then, following that, place the leaf inside. Along with that, you must break the block, scroll to the next available space on your hotbar, and pick block all at the same time. And for me, pick block is down on the D-pad. And now that you obtain your water block, you can now flood your nether. In Legacy Edition, you can only make 20 falling blocks happen all at once, which is to be assumed to keep Legacy Edition at a stable frame rate, but this doesn't apply to Dragon Eggs. As you may know, most of the soundtrack produced in Legacy Edition is mostly by C418. However, something as much specific as Legacy Edition, it will play an extended version of Cat. This extra bit onwards is known as DOM and isn't on Java or Bedrock Edition. And as some of you may know, you can never craft enchanted golden apples after 1.9. However, on Legacy Edition,
Still as a breeze, the river flowing deep. Don't wanna leave the air free. Living me in the streets when I think of you and me. Don't wanna leave the world you see, and I will hold you down. Love is still alive. It's all forgiven to my eyes. The tide has turned around. Just listen to the sound. Two hearts beating time. Hey yeah, hey yeah, hey yeah, hey yeah, hey yeah. It's all forgiven to my eyes. Hey yeah, hey yeah, hey yeah, hey yeah, hey yeah. It's all forgiven. You and your wicked ways.
Free wood.
Just listen to the sound. Two hearts beating time. Hey yeah, hey yeah, hey yeah, hey yeah. It's all forgiven. You and your wicked ways.
I am getting free wood. Hey. Isn't it called X? Let's go to my life and I'll go back. The one you're currently watching. And I'll go back. The one you're currently watching. Now I'll get back.
It's precisely 512 bytes. So I think this is called BootOS. It is created by a man called Oscar Toledo, and BootOS is an operating system that claims to be less than 1 kilobyte in size, precisely 512 bytes. So I think let's check it out. Before we can actually try it out, we have to set it up in a virtual machine. So I'm going to clone the Git project onto my machine. Then we have to use the NASM assembler and run this command. How do you spell it correctly? I don't know. I do not know anything about assembly, but I guess this turns the operating system source code into a raw binary file. After that, in order to boot the operating system in a virtual machine, we have to create an empty floppy disk image. Then I just combine the raw binary and the empty floppy disk image into a bootable floppy disk image. And now we can go ahead and create a virtual machine using QEMU and our bootable floppy image. There's the operating system. Works. But before we actually check it out, I wanted to quickly confirm the size of this operating system. There's the source code file. This one is 20 kilobytes in size, but the operating system itself that we are booting is just 512 bytes in size. Let's check out the operating system. So, of course, there is nothing graphical. There's only the command line interface, and there are a few commands that we can use. According to the documentation, when you first boot up the operating system, you have to type format, because that initializes the directory. Then you can check for what is the operating system's current version. There is none at the moment, but at least it outputs what operating system you are using. Then you have this keyword to check what files you have in your directory. I have none at the moment. We can create new files using the enter keyword. You also have to put a plus sign at the end because I think it specifies a new line. Here you can enter up to 512 hexadecimal bytes to create some kind of a text. Each line allows up to 128 characters, so you have to break it up into chunks of 4, 8 or 16 bytes. After each line, you have to put the plus symbol so that you can write the next set of characters in a new line. Once you are done, you have to add a plus sign at the end so that it knows where the file ends, and then you can proceed to give it a name to your new file. I named it Hello World. Then if we check the directory's contents, now it shows our new file. If I write the file's name, it will give us the output. Then the final keyword
I can
files. I can use it
I can still watch data stream.
For being just 512 bytes in size, I think this is pretty cool. On the GitHub page, it says BootOS is a boot sector operating system. Now, what does that mean? What is the boot sector? The boot sector, found at the beginning of your storage device, holds essential instructions to kickstart your computer's operating system. It's like ignition key for your computer, without which it wouldn't know how to start up and run the operating system. Okay, but in this case, we have a whole operating system running from that boot sector. As far as I understand, pretty cool. But it doesn't end here. There's also software programs for this operating system. The process is similar to what we did previously. I first go ahead and clone the project, then change directories, and there was a command in the GitHub project that you have to use. I'm guessing it also just turns the code into a raw binary file. And then I just go ahead and start it with
What the heck are
these
these
software
sounds?
programs are not exactly something that you put into BootOS and start from there, but rather standalone bootable images. Here, like this operating. Anyway, computer. System32 is one of the most important folders on your Windows system. But what would happen if you were to delete it? Today we're going to delete System32 on every Windows version ever released, with the exception of super old Windows like 3, 2, and 1. Starting with Windows 11, here we have to open up the File Explorer, and then we just go to this PC, local disk, Windows, System32. There are of course many methods to delete System32, but what I'm gonna do is Control-A to select everything and just delete it. This will select all of the files in System32 and delete as many as it can. And it's done. Let's see how many have we deleted. 61 items it has deleted. When we empty the recycle bin, we find out that we are deleting over 700 files from the System32 folder. However, what I am also going to do is delete System32 files from the command prompt as well, so that we actually delete as many files as possible. Now let's check the damage. When we open up the File Explorer, we can see that the whole sidebar is gone. The icons are gone. This feels so weird. The recycle bin icon.
I'm ending at 6:20 p.m.
Any icons anymore. Unspecified error. It doesn't even say what kind of error this is. Paint? I mean, that works. Not even system settings work. I soon found out that I can't even restart. The menu doesn't appear. So I had to shut down my machine, and once we boot back up, we see preparing automatic repair. Windows has detected that something's wrong and is now trying to repair our system. Automatic repair could not repair your PC. Advanced options. So yeah, this is pretty bad. Now let's delete System32 on Windows 10. And the process here is very similar to what we just did on Windows 11. The system folder here is also located inside of Windows, and there it is, System32. Let's actually see how many can we delete like this. Delete. It took a while, and some of the items were moved to the recycle bin. How many do we have? About 69 items, including the folders. Okay, let's recycle these ones. So I recycled the items, and once again deleted even more files to the command prompt. Right away, it seems like
What did I just saw?
File Explorer. What about everything else? Memory could not be removed. Okay, I can't click on anything anymore. Okay, I'm guessing that we have broken some really important System32 files that have now broken the Windows shell. Once we restart the system, we are once again welcomed into automatic repair. Automatic repair could not repair your PC. Same thing that we just saw on Windows 11. Now it's time we do it on Windows 8.1. This start menu is so frustrating. I don't like it. This is such a weird menu. So let's go to Windows, and there should be System32 right here. There it is. And let's again do Control-Alt and delete. I know that there are people who like Windows 8 and 8.1, but just deleted about 3,000 items. How can I find the command prompt? Run as administrator. Once again, I took ownership of the files, granted myself permissions, and deleted even more System32 files. Checking out the damage, we can no longer run applications.
Damn it.
They seem to be opening, but they don't work. These are called Metro apps, by the way. Some icons all throughout the system have disappeared as well. Windows cannot find something. I guess let's restart it, except I can't even do that. Preparing automatic repair, okay. So just like on Windows 11 and 10, and on this one you also have the same screen. I really do not want to troubleshoot this operating system. But now we have to move to Windows 8. Fine, without the new way to use Windows. No. Does it look good? Yes. Is it practical to use? Hell no. Computer, all this, Windows, System32, and let's select all of them and do this. The process is fairly similar to the previous one. So how many
More chests.
items? When we delete it, it's 764 items deleted. Like a little. What I need now is command prompt. Can we run as administrator? I honestly think this is a bit better than Windows 8.1, but it's still bad. I then deleted even more files to see what works and what doesn't work. Windows cannot find task manager.exe. Screen resolution settings cannot be opened. The system was in this half-broken state, and we now have to reboot and see what happens. Repairing automatic repair. It was loading the repair screen once again. However, this time it seemed like we cannot even
53.
It just reboots and starts repairing the automatic repair all over again. So with that being said, let's jump onto Windows 7. Here we are with our beautiful background. I really like this already. Anyway, computer, local disk, Windows, System32. Now let's select all of it and press on delete. Are you sure you want to move whatever items to recycle bin? This time the deletion process.
Press quintuple
Process would stop and not continue.
chest.
I would have to select everything again
Yeah.
and press on delete. This happened a bunch of times. We have deleted something from the System32 that makes Windows 7 think that this version of Windows 7 is modified and not genuine. But anyway, I just kept deleting. What? You may be a victim of software counterfeiting. That's because I just deleted something. System profile is a system file. Yes, we're gonna have to use the command prompt. So I did what we had done on previous operating systems, and while I was browsing around the system waiting for stuff to delete, this happened. Our background went black. Let's see, can I bring it back? Change desktop background. Let's do this one, and it's back. I granted myself permissions, and we could delete even more System32 files. It was done. Now let's check the damage. Everything seems to be working fine, except I can't open the conflict. I can't open anything. Application was unable to start correctly. There was also nothing really working from the start menu as well. This computer is not running any Windows. Problem. There are some icons I cannot even press on. Widgets still work. Server execution failed.
I think this is the maximum now.
I guess let's restart the system and see what happens. So I tried to shut it down, only to find out that I cannot shut it down. Everything has disappeared, but the cursor is still there. I then booted the system back up and I saw this.
Sesquintuple chest. Hello.
Startup repair cannot
Yeah,
repair
it says sesquintuple chest. So right now this is the maximum.
Oh, and I have to mention that I have accidentally downloaded
56 chests.
because I do not understand.
Like, oh my god.
Okay, how do I find the file explorer?
I'll be back in a sec. Or a minute.
Let's do it this way. What does it say? Okay, can I go to the C drive maybe? I can read basically Windows and we have System32 right here. Let's do Control A. And which one is delete? Was it seal? Yes, Turkish viewers, I apologize. So we are deleting System32. I'm clicking some buttons and just hoping that it works. I guess this one says try again and this one is skip. I think this is the same thing as we just saw on Windows 7. Now in the recycle bin we have 59 items. Let's just select all of them and delete say command prompt working. Which one is open as administrator? What did I just do? Open as administrator. Open as administrator.
I'm back.
I took ownership of the files, but I won't manage to do that. I could not delete files from the command prompt because my usual command didn't work. So I just moved files from System32 to the recycle bin and recycled again. This allowed me to delete a few more files. Then I shut down the system, and when I booted it back up, we were in the Windows recovery screen. So Windows Vista is also finished. Now let's get to Windows XP. This one's another classic. There might be
What the?
on my documents, local disk, Windows, and it should be there. Let's select everything and let's delete 32 minutes. It did just move something.
If I could do that, I'll make you listen to Polish by using 11 Labs.
I have to tell you what I did. You already know at this point. More
I am not lying. I'm going. You can hear Polish via 11 Labs because I'm not going to speak Polish. Wow.
I guess let's restart the system and see what happens. Restart. Windows could not start because the following file is missing or corrupt. Windows root system32 all DLL. Now, let me introduce you to Windows ME. Millennial Edition. What was my password? Called by the community.
Windows Mistake Edition.
Install the graphics drivers on this operating system. I think, yeah, those were the only drivers I installed. So what we have to do is open up the command prompt. MS-DOS prompt. Okay, that's what it's called. So let's delete.
Yes, 1820. That is what the European time is.
The real system is just called system. This is the most.
I'm not taking damage at all.
It even takes a bit longer to delete. Immediately, there's not much change. No, I don't know if you can see this, and I'm not sure how to explain it, but my mouse cursor was moving really weird. It was sort of dragging on the screen, and I could barely even move it around. I think this is because there could have been some kind of mouse driver that we deleted, or some important DLLs, which causes my mouse cursor to not behave very well. This was a very strange experience, but I did manage to shut down my system. When we booted it up, however, the following file is missing or corrupted. The system cannot boot anymore. Very nice. Let's try deleting.
So Arnold Dunik R6V.
Once again, the system.
Say end the stream when I forgot to end the stream.
Also, the System32 folder is not that important. The real folder we have to delete is the one that is just called system. It contains a bunch of files. So I opened up the MS-DOS prompt and I deleted System32 first of all, and also the big boy system folder. Right away, nothing much has changed. If we check out the folders, they are still present in the Windows directory. However, the system folder has noticeably way less files than it used to have. When I open something like the control panel, it is completely empty. We cannot change any settings because there are no settings. Now, if I go ahead and restart Windows 98, when it boots back up, we see that some file is required for Windows to run. We would have to reinstall Windows 98 from now on. But what about Windows 95? This one's also interesting.
Here there is no. It does not show Windows 3.1.
Stop doing that. That's
Free Windows 2 and Windows 1 is super easy. What do you have to do?
Was Windows 11 better when it was first released?
Type del asterisk underscore asterisk.
It is time to set them up.
And then boom, all the files are deleted.
While it's starting, let's also proceed with the build from 2026. Next, install Windows 11. This one actually has more steps. On 2026, it just says product key, but on 2021, it says activate Windows. Let's just click on I don't have a product key for both of them. For this one as well. Let's just pick Windows 11 Pro. Next, on this one also, Windows 11 Pro. There's the license agreement. I don't want to read it. I accept. On this one as well, I accept. Next, custom install Windows only. Drive 0 unallocated space.
Oh.
Next.
What?
Okay, installing Windows. And now let's do this one as well. Disk 0. Next. Ready to install. Install Windows. Keep nothing. Install. The 2021.
It just says keep nothing. Wait, why does 20 on W1 looks like you download Windows 8. Yeah, I know.
Continue with limited setup. I'll be bypassing the room. And now I can press I don't have internet. This might take a few minutes. You don't say. Okay, so I think let's install some VMware tools on these guys. Install VMware tools. Install. And on this one as well. Install. We have completely different background wallpapers when we have first installed the systems. And the layout is also a bit different. On this one we have the big search bar. How did Windows 10 look like when it was first released in 2015? And how did it look like in 2025 right before getting discontinued? It's a very huge change actually. Next, install now. Setup is starting. And then while that is starting, let's also proceed with the 2025 Windows. Windows 2015. Enter product key to activate Windows. But here it says just activate Windows on 2025.
Yes, it's just so bro, these mobs are frustrating.
2025 is different. It says I don't have a product key. And here it doesn't bring us to the license agreement, but rather we can select which operating system to install. I'm gonna pick Windows 10 Pro. Next. Now is the license agreement. Now let's do 2015. I accept. Next. Which type of installation? Custom. And 2025. I accept. Next. Which type of installation? Custom. Drive 0. Next. And start the installation. And on 2015 as well. Drive 0. Next. And it also starts the installation. So these installation screens are pretty much identical on 2015 and in 2025. Windows needs to restart to continue. Restart now. So let's restart this one as well. 2015. So far there are minor differences. They are both getting ready. Here it actually finished a bit sooner on 2015. On 2025 it starts off by asking us for our region, but on 2015 it asks us for the product key. And apparently I can do it later as well. Use express settings. Just a moment. And now 2025, United States. Yes. Is this the right keyboard layout? Yes. Second keyboard layout. No. Skip. 2015 is once again very different. Now it just asks us to set up the account.
Okay, so if I have VMware on the Acer, this one has a Vegas Pro on it.
Windows setups ever. Let's do 20.
I will get these via BetaWiki.
Security questions. Yeah, sure. Next.
So you can say that words.
Hi. Getting everything ready for you. This might take several minutes. I guess while this one is loading, we can check out.
This is looking good. This is the classic background. Oh, this is even the classic store menu. Well, this is the original.
First thing I want to do is install some VMware tools on both of these guys. Run setup.exe and also on 2025 virtual machine install VMware.
Okay.
Gigabytes of RAM, all the way down to 128 megabytes of RAM. That's gonna be fun.
My PC contains 16 gigabytes of RAM.
Page file for this Windows machine. So for this whole video, we are going to be using only physical RAM with no flow. So as you can see, we have the system running on 8 gigabytes of RAM currently, which is a pretty standard setup. Of course, everything works fine.
Well, this is the advanced setup. It contains 16 gigabytes of RAM.
4 gigabytes of RAM, and this is what Microsoft has actually written as minimum requirement for Windows 11. Right off the bat, if we open up the task manager, here we can see that.
So I had an idea what happens if how much RAM do you need until it stops working?
Using the system like normal doesn't show when we notice
or and then until it shows error message.
and open multiple applications on Windows. That's where Windows starts to struggle. We have about 5 programs open and none of them are actually loading. CPU is working.
Wow, five programs on 16 gigabytes.
More than that, then you might notice a lot of issues.
Will my PC will handle even 5 programs. Even 100 tabs of Google Chrome or Firefox, that's what I use. My computer laptop hold it fine.
But then crash. Alongside other programs, I tried opening Microsoft Edge, but it refused to open. I tried once again, but that just messed everything up. Microsoft Edge is not responding. It's gonna report it to Microsoft. And it has seemingly broken our desktop because the disappear. And we cannot do anything on the desktop at all. Let's see, what does it say? Windows Explorer, restart. And we're back. Windows 11 on 2 gigabytes of RAM is pretty painful. But now, let's reduce Windows down to 1 gigabyte of RAM. Right away,
I'm not buying RAM.
the loading screen. We wait a couple seconds.
Before that, RAM just costed a little. But nowadays, it's so expensive. It's the amount I purchased for a PS5. Of a PS5 or even a single phone. Make sure it doesn't turn to dirt.
And my computer was getting
Come on.
kind of hot at this point. I wasn't sure what happened to Explorer PC, but I tried to restart it. Then we saw this. I think there was
Buy RAM. I'm gonna say this. The RAMs now cost more than I purchased my PS5. Or it's more expensive than I purchased his iPhone. If I purchased an iPhone 15 Pro Max. Or iPhone 17 Pro Max? I don't know. Wait, iPhone maybe 17 Pro Max? I have no idea.
Okay, this is far below the minimum requirements. I think the system has crashed on login screen. When it loaded, we were greeted with a pitch black screen. And this time, even our cursor didn't load. Oh wait, after like a minute of waiting, it didn't appear. I can't even do Ctrl-Alt-Delete, so I kept waiting.
Okay, say that I have to end the stream. End the stream! Say end the stream!
256 megabytes of RAM.
I'll continuously say to end this stream now.
We got this blue screen. Our PC device.
This is not a blue screen, this is the recovery screen.
After trying to enter the recovery environment and failing, we now have some kind of...
Oh, you're saying bye? I'm going to say. Thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you the next live.